Hey folks, Steve Bird here. Haven't done a video in a while, and this is one of the reasons. When you've got a farm slash homestead, whatever you want to call it, very often you'll have plans. I'm going to do this at this time, I'm going to do that at that time, and then your property says, no, you're going to do this now. I know a lot of you totally understand that. Forgive me for swatting away the gnats. They've found me. But I literally just got done. This was the last bale of hay season 2021. So hopefully I'm putting all the major farm chores aside and be able to catch up on a lot of the stuff I've been promising to do this whole year. The reason I'm still got this hay baler parked here is this old John Deere 435 baler, in a simple image, kind of sums up how things have been this year. As you can see, it's got a missing belt. That belt broke on the very first bale of our second cut for hay. Very first bale, and the whole time I expected others to start letting go, but somehow it held in there, or God held it in there for us. But it ended up doing all right. But we finished out the season, and hopefully we can get the belts replaced this winter. I always say that. I always have winter projects that I say I'm going to get done, and then sure enough, I'm sure about the time we're ready to cut spring hay next year, or the first cut next year, I'll be thinking, oh man, I should have changed those belts last winter. But anyway, this year in a nutshell on our property has been hectic, to say the least. My day job, I manage a corporate flight department and a pilot, and we've had a lot of exciting things going on there, a lot of opportunities for growth and expansion, and some really exciting stuff. Being the department manager, it's occupied a lot of my time, so that's taken away some of my ability to get some of the things done and get some of the videos out I wanted to do and get some books written. Not complaining about that. It's a tremendous opportunity, and I'm glad to have it, but it's just a fact of life. Some things limit your time, though it's more than worth it. But as far as the rest of our year has gone, our hay season for our first cut started off on a bad foot with a breaking baler. Not this one. It's the one sitting in my baler graveyard that we seem to be accumulating and adding tombstones to. I ended up getting a neighbor to help me out. He brought a baler over after I had it all cut and raked up into windrows and baled it up for me. So that kind of kept us going. We shifted from cows back to sheep. Many reasons for that. Anybody that's read a lot of my early books noticed there was a lot of sheep in there. The New Homefront series and Society Lost series, which the first book in that series was called The Shepherd. They all revolved around people who dealt with sheep for their own food production. And it makes sheep make all kinds of sense. They just do. And when we first bought this property, we upgraded from a smaller property where we had our sheep. We got out here in the middle of nowhere. Everything was barbed wire fenced and ready to go for cattle. And that didn't work very well for sheep and coyotes. So we sold the sheep and got cattle because they fit the property. And we had a lot going on to develop the property. We had to build a road, put in water, put in a septic system, put in power or solar, build a lot of different buildings and facilities. We've been very busy over the past few years, and we really didn't have time to re-fence the entire property and set it up properly for sheep, so we just traded sheep for cows. The downside of that to us was when we had sheep, my wife could be very involved, and she was very involved. Being an ER nurse by trade, she was all about giving them their vaccinations and treating them when there was problems, trimming their hooves, helping them with birth. I mean, she was all over the sheep. That was her thing. And when the cows came along, that kind of changed, because let's face it, even a cow that you think likes you can kill you on accident. If it goes swapping its head around after a horsefly, it can crush you up against the fence or stick you in the side of the head with one of its horns if they have horns. Or if one cow spooks another one, they can simply trample you if you're standing out amongst them. And with two little girls, I didn't really like that. Every now and then we'd have a tree fall on a fence, the calves would get out, and they're not actively trying to harm you, but again, they're big and they're not that bright, so it can happen. And I don't want my little girls to be playing outside one day and look up and have the bull standing in front of them. He was ornery. So the bull ended up leading to being the biggest primer in making the switch back to sheep like we should a long time ago. Our bull had discovered that fences were merely a suggestion. We got him when he was really young, and we've had him for 4 or 5 years now. Huge Angus bull. He was okay with us. I had to get in fights with him occasionally on a tractor or an excavator or something when he'd try to run the equipment out of his pasture. And he chased me down on this four-wheeler once. That wasn't very fun. But that's just how it goes. They're big primal beasts, and they're territorial, especially if one of their cows are in heat. And that's just the way it goes. So if you're going to have cattle, you've got to be willing to deal with the physical threat aspect of having cattle. With little kids and with the fact that I travel with my flying job, that really wasn't working for us, because it seemed like the bull would wait and he would watch and see my truck leave the property, and that's when he was going to go through a fence, get into a neighboring farm, and go visit their cows. So after the proverbial straw had broken the camel's back after his repeated escape attempts, we sold him to the farmer that he just happened to be breaking out to get into, so we didn't even have to catch him, and sold all the cows except for Monica's pet Holstein, which was a bottle baby, and that's the Gigantor Holstein. That's like, her back is like 6 feet tall. She's theoretically a pet, but we got rid of all the other cows. We pared down our donkey herd to 2 jacks, and our horses are pared down to 2 horses. And other than that, we're back to sheep. Right now we've got Katahdins and Katahdin Dorper Cross and a full-blood registered Dorper Ram. So all the Katahdins that we recently purchased were already bred, and they're already pregnant, and they're pretty far along. So that was ideal for us, because any ewe lambs that come out, once they're ready, they can breed with that ram, so we can get multiple generations out of him before we got to worry about rotating him out. But this time we're going about things totally different with our sheep. We're making correct sheep paddocks with a compound in the middle that's coyote proof, that we'll put them in every night. We'll let them out into a different paddock every day for the rotational grazing aspect of dealing with sheep. Sheep will eat the grass straight down to the dirt. They don't leave anything if you keep them confined, so you gotta move them around. And we're doing it right, and we're hoping by this time next year to have a pretty good size sheep flock going. We're going to do both commercial meat sheep and registered Dorper breeding stock. Going to have kind of both lines. Sell the unregistered commercial Katahdin / Dorper Cross sheep for meat, and the other ones, like I say, for breeding stock. And we're going to see how that goes. We're going to take it pretty seriously. We're going to try to treat it like a real business, not just a backyard hobby. We're going to try to do it right from the beginning. Monica and I have been really good at learning things the hard ways over the years, and we're ready to start doing stuff right from the beginning. But now that hay season is over, I've got several more solar videos to do. I've got 3 actually. I recently installed some solar panels on a building by our barn on the roof using roof mounts. So I'm going to be doing a video on that. We acquired all that stuff from Scott Hunt at Practical Preppers LLC, Engineer 775. I got the mounts and the panels and everything from him for that project, and I'll detail that in a video. I also have the video I've been promising, which is 20 more 320 watt panels on a Sinclair ground mount, and that's going to be going onto our main Solar 12K system. Another video is I'm swapping out our regular EMP hardened Solar 12K, the indoor model, for a outdoor model Solar EMP hardened 12K. And I'll explain when I do that video. I'll explain the whys and the benefits to it, and what we're getting out of that swap. But anyway, thanks for being patient with us. It's been a long summer, to say the least, between work, the real world for me, and our homestead, and transitioning from one type of animal to another while still maintaining the property and doing hay and fertilizing and spraying and all the stuff that you got to do to manage your hay fields properly, as well as continue to develop our homestead for our own use. So appreciate your patience with the amount of time it's taken me to get these videos out. I've just been all wrapped up in the real world of doing what I'm doing. You know, I'm not making these videos just as a hobby, you know, to generate interest for something. This is really what we're really doing. This is really our lives all day, every day. And we're just trying to document some of that for you, because there's a lot of people out there that kind of want to move away from where they are, get a piece of land in the middle of nowhere and work it. And that's exactly what we did. You know, we weren't born and raised on a farm, and we didn't inherit anything. We've just been figuring it out as we went. So I want to share as much of that with you as I can, so that you can save some of the trouble that we went through. But most importantly, just to share what we got going on and keep in touch with you folks. So thanks again for your patience, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks.
like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together, it's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell